Oh, hey. Didn't see you over there. What am I doing? Just building up some pinky strength. You know what they say, pinky strength makes up about 30% of being a good mouse and keyboard player. The other 70%? Well, you gotta watch the video for that one. Whether you're switching over from controller, like me, or you just want to improve your gaming skills, well, you just happen to stumble upon the best video for that. I've been gaming on controller for roughly 20 years, and just recently did I make the switch over to mouse and keyboard. And after hours of scouring the internet for help, I realized there wasn't a single video that wasn't like insanely long and boring. Well, that was until this one. You guys want to know like the one thing that helped me out the most when making this switch? Yeah, that small little keyboard tilt made the world of difference to me. I'm a 30-year-old millennial. My pinkies have terrible movement. They're like double jointed. So for me, that little keyboard tilt made it way more relaxed on my pinky to hit the shift button, especially when playing Survivor. So yeah, that's a game changer, and I'd also really recommend having a mouse with the two side buttons on them. We'll get into all the nerd shit next, but when you're able to map abilities to these side buttons, it just makes you like instantly better. All right, now let's get into the settings, and I'm gonna fire through these quick. You can slow down the video if you want, but in the accessibility tab, I turn the heartbeat visual on. Some people find it annoying, but like, I don't, and it actually gives you an advantage against some killers that have like lullabies. In the beta tab, I turn the first person FOV all the way to the max, which is 103. I don't think there's any reason not to at this point. Apparently there's some killers that aren't as optimal on the max FOV setting, but I just set it to the max and leave it. For graphics, you can set them to whatever level you want. If you aren't using reshade, I recommend cranking the gamma all the way up. That way you can see a little bit better, but reshade's probably overall a better option. You can download it and it works right inside of Dead by Daylight. A lot of your favorite content creators probably have a reshade command on their Twitch. That way you can download their preset to make your game look like theirs. I personally use Hens' preset because it just looks very nice, and I make a lot of YouTube videos, so it looks good for YouTube. In the controls tab, I have survivor sensitivity set to 100. My killer sensitivity is set to 70, but you need to make sure to tweak these to taste. Obviously, nothing's gonna feel natural at first, but as you continue to play, you can turn them up and down. It also depends on your mouse DPI. My mouse is at 2400 DPI, and I believe the higher that is, the lower your sensitivity could go. And finally, keybinds. This is the important part. For killer, it's simple. I switched the secondary power button to the M4 button, and Survivor, I got a little crazier with it. I switched skill check from spacebar to that same M4 button. I switched secondary actions to M5, which is this front mouse button, so that's for like blessing totems. And then finally, this might not be popular, but I switched crouch to M4. So I have crouch attached to my mouse, which usually it's control, but control was just really hard for me to hit with my pinky, and I kept on accidentally hitting control when I was trying to hit shift. But again, it's important that you do what you're comfortable with. I understand that not everyone will want crouch on their mouse. Okay, now that we're done with the settings, let's get into the fun part. Isn't it crazy that people will sit there and practice moonwalking for hours on end, but they won't practice the stuff that's like actually important in games? That's why if you want to get better on mouse and keyboard, I want you to remember a plaque. Always be playing like a crackhead. Huh? So when you get into a game, I don't want you to just jump on a gen and sit on it. I want you to sprint around the map. I want you to constantly be looking over your shoulder like you're hearing voices, whether you're in chase or not. I want you to be hugging tiles super tight. I want you to be fast vaulting windows. Yes, it's going to be kind of annoying to your teammates, but if anything, this is going to draw the attention of the killer. So not only are you getting practice doing the things you need to do, like looking over your shoulder and looping tiles when you're just running around the map, eventually the killer will find you and start chasing you, which is a good thing. So in a perfect example of a plaque, I had a game against a Vecna and I just started running around. I started vaulting windows. I was looking over my shoulder. Obviously the Vecna probably took notice and started chasing me, and I got good experience juicing this Vecna. Like, it's not perfect. Like, I'm still making a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I get stuck on things when I look over my shoulder. Sometimes I get myself like a little bit disoriented, but getting that real chase experience is really helpful. The reality is, if you just sit on gens and play conservatively, it's going to take a long time to improve. But if you remember a plaque, after like 4 or 5 games, you'll see like a massive skill increase. And once you've been doing a plaque for a while, it's time for step 3. If you've done the first 2 steps right, now you're ready to shred. Put your skills to the test and play regular. Don't play like a crackhead. I think a good sign on whether you've done A plaque correctly is if you go like, let's say 2-3 gens without getting into a chase, and then you get into a chase and you're feeling comfortable and you're moving well. But let's say after a couple gens you get into a chase, then you mess up again. It's time to go back to step 2 and get right back to A plaquing. It's important to be honest with yourself, because even when I feel like I've really gotten down the mouse and keyboard, there'll be one thing that I'm really struggling with. Maybe it's like a certain killer's power, and I play that killer a lot and go back to A plaque. But if you are dominating with mouse and keyboard, it's time for the 4th and final step. Watch this video right here.